DraftSociety.com presents a Premier League Draft Fantasy Podcast. Welcome to the Key Pass Collective. Your exclusive source for the information, analysis, and advice you need to dominate your fantasy leagues. Come on in. We've been expecting you.
What is going on, draft heads? And welcome in to the Key Pass Collective, back for the 24-25 season. My name's Joe Williams. I will be your host for this particular episode. And actually, the next few episodes will have a common theme. So welcome in and sit back and relax as we talk you through the positions in this year's EPL Draft fantasy game. In these next few episodes, we will be going through each position one by one and talking them through in terms of ADP. Now, that's average draft position. So where do each of these players fall in an average draft? And do we think that they are worthy of that particular draft slot? It's going to be a fun one. Stick with us for the next few episodes as we go through and get you ready for your 24-25 drafts. And speaking of that, check out the DraftSociety.com, which of course this podcast is brought to you by the Draft Society. Check out the DraftSociety.com for our latest draft kit. The draft kit is a result of hundreds of hours of work. It is incredible. We've got rankings on there. We've got season projections for all your players. We've got a live draft aid to help you out mid-draft that actually links to your Fantrax profile. We have tiered ranking cheat sheets. We have forecasts for every single Premier League team. We have mock drafts on there. We have analysis articles. We have anything that you can possibly think of. It's all on the DraftSociety.com in this year's draft kit. And we think, first of all, we think it's incredibly worth it. Like I said, there's hundreds of hours of work that goes into it. And we've truly given you our best possible analysis that we can. But second of all, if you look into the draft kit, if you decide to purchase it, you're also supporting an independent fantasy football website. And you know how much we appreciate that. And community, you all are incredible. And we want to again thank you this season just for the humbling response we've gotten to the draft kit. You all are amazing. So check out the draft kit. It's on the DraftSociety.com. And with that, let's go ahead and jump in to this year's positional previews. All right, there we are. You guys have been telling me for a while that I should pre-record something that could play in the beginning, and it's not my style, but I do like it for these positional preview shows because we can just use it 3 times. How'd you like it?
Loved it. I would suggest changing it for the midfielders episode that is coming up in an hour.
It never said defenders. That's the thing.
No. I was just
going to say
we launched our referral program today.
Ah, yes.
Did you know that, Joe?
I'm just going to let you say that for both of these live streams. So if you go ahead, please.
So we have launched our referral program, which is titled "Make Your League Better." Essentially, we are inviting everyone who has subscribed and bought an Ultimate Pass already, or several hundred of you, to tell your friends, tell your league mates to join as well, buy an Ultimate Pass, and the ones who sign up with your code will get 25% off their own purchase, plus you yourself get one free Draft Society t-shirt. And if you get 3 people to sign up, then you will get a free Ultimate Pass next season, plus the t-shirt, obviously.
Boom. I love it.
I'm trying to get my league mates to sign up as we speak.
All right. Well, that is the lovely voice of one Toddy. We've also got Ryan. We've got Jeannie on the horn here with us today as well.
The OG crew.
Yep. We've all been in the thick of draft kit writing, preparing, ranking, all those things. How have you found it, lads, doing the draft kit this year? I know it's a loaded question.
I'd like Ryan's response now.
It's been a breeze. I mean,
yeah.
Everything else in my life has taken precedence, so I can't really remember writing much because it hasn't been a priority. It hasn't taken up every single day of my life for the past few weeks.
It's been a fever dream.
Afterthought.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
No, it's been fine, but we're nearly there.
We are. All right. Well, we're here today to talk defenders. And for those on the live stream, what's up, everybody? Welcome back. It's so good to see everyone. Anurag, what's going on? Pubs is here. Draft Pie, what's going on? Draft Tash, he's here. Mandrews, what's going on? It's been a minute since we've seen Mandrews on here. And then Josh. And then everybody else who's watching, feel free to chat us up. Put your questions in the chat. We'll be happy to answer them if we have some time to get to them. But today we're talking defenders. We're going to go through by ADP and just look at where defenders are going in mock drafts, or maybe the drafts that have already happened for leagues that I don't know why you do that, but if you have. And then we'll kind of react to the spot that they're at in the ADP versus where kind of we like them instead, and where they find themselves in our war ranks. So we're going to start today with a positional narrative. So just one by one, guys, give us a quick thought that represents your stance or your strategy about drafting defenders this season. Just in a nutshell.
I think my general strategy is going to be, if round 3, if I see an elite defender still there, I might pick him up. If not, I'll probably wait until I like a few defenders around round 6, and then like 9 to 12, I think is really where you can get some defenders. So I think that'll probably be my general strategy, with the overarching thought of, if value falls to me, I'll take advantage. But yeah, in a nutshell, that's kind of what I'm thinking.
I like it. Toddy, Jeannie?
I came into the draft season saying that the premium defender tier is the shortest or the smallest of all the premium tiers, and therefore I would love to be able to draft a premium defender, because although the change to the default scoring has strengthened defenders somewhat, but comparatively, I think streaming defenders are still worse than streaming midfielders and streaming forwards. So essentially, my logic is why choose a tactic that ends with you having to stream defenders, when streaming or finding valuable streaming defenders is the most difficult task. So I'm looking to grab a premium defender this season.
Where do you think that premium or elite defender tier ends? Who do you think it ends with? Like someone like Robertson?
I think it's
tricky because there's some tweeners that you could make an argument for. There's not a clear cut, fall off, I would say.
Yeah, I think we will go deep into this at the top end of this pod, but
I want to know now.
Maybe someone is
the lead.
Yeah, maybe someone's just tuned in for Joe's auto intro and
auto tune.
Yeah,
wouldn't blame him.
AI Joe.
AI Joe. Yeah, I'll just.
GP.
No, I think sort of the end of premium is maybe Poro. So I want to say Trent, Robo, Trips, Tarkowski, and Poro. I think that's my tier 1. It's a looser tier. Like
Yeah.
I know that Poro is probably not comparable to Trent in expected production, but that's where I have my premium, and that's where I want to get one defender from that lot, so that I don't have to stream. Essentially, I don't have to stream at least three every week. And I'm backing myself to sort of jump on bandwagons early enough so that I could get the defender on a hot streak or on a good round of fixtures. But that's still sort of in the midst of like streaming defenders.
All right, we'll get to all that, I'm sure. Genie.
Yeah, I'm gonna be complete opposite here. I just don't think it's worth it. I know that there's these premium defenders that everyone talks about and wants. But the way I kind of approach it is that defenders are the easiest position to trade for. So the way I like to draft is, unless like a defender falls to me like and it's some crazy value, like I see in the 4th round, let's say 5th round, I see like Robertson or Poro there or something, then of course I have to take that value. But I'd rather go for the pure upside plays in the midfielders and forwards, and then some teams will obviously be lacking that. The teams that take 2 defenders, like let's say like a Van Dijk and a Poro in round 3 and 4, and then those are the ones that will be cheaper to get. So let's say in 3 weeks when that manager is struggling for midfielders or forwards, and the waiver wire is a crapshoot, as we all always know in tougher leagues, then I might be able to trade my way. Let's say one of my 6th round midfielder turned out to be worth like a 3rd round pick at the end of the day. Let's say like someone like Sozbolazai, however you say his name.
It's not that. That's not how you say it.
Definitely not that.
It's better than what Toddy comes up with.
But that's the one that came to mind, that end 5th, early 6th type pick. So if he turns out to be, let's say, like a 10 points per start player, and he's just like my mid 4 or something, then I could afford to trade up and get that defender 1. So that's the way I always approach defenders. Unless a value falls, I leave them to the last like 6 rounds, I'd say.
So you still want a premium defender, you just don't want to spend draft capital on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that what you mean?
Like, yeah, I still want one, but I'm not going to draft one.
I mean, that's Genie's style, though. Genie's going to do whatever he can to trade. To trade and trade and trade and trade. It's like, you ever hear of the Paperclip Project? No. Genie is the Paperclip Project.
Is that the one where in the office
yeah,
Dwight trades up to get a telescope.
Oh,
exactly.
Oh, that episode. Okay, yeah.
And then Genie trades away.
But it was a real thing. It was like a documentary on it where it was like these class project of these kids somewhere, and they start with a paperclip and they trade it up to like a house or something. So yeah, that's Genie, and the house is Trent or.
Trent's always a bit far out. You gotta.
Trent's a mansion.
And Trippier, like those, if Trippier stays, those 2 would be out of reach. It would be more so like the Robertson or Poros of the world.
All right, well, let's talk about these premium defenders. So first of all, just kind of to give people an idea of what we're going to be comparing here. So we're going to be looking at ADP, which is average draft position. And I did make this slideshow a couple of days ago, so this may not be completely updated, but it's going to be close. And so you're going to have the average draft position, which will give you an idea of which round these players are, on average, being taken in mock drafts, and if any drafts have happened already. What you're also going to see on the screen is a WAR ranking. Now, a WAR ranking stands for wins above replacement, and it's basically a measurement of this player over the course of a season, how many extra games, essentially how many extra matchups might you have won just by rostering this player over a random sort of waiver wire, replacement guy, an average player. So it's a measure of essentially how much better that player is than an average random player in this game that we play. And so it's a good indication of how valuable a player can be. So we're going to be, for each of these sort of groups of defenders, we're going to be talking about ADP versus WAR. So this would be a good exercise here for the first group. So here are our premium defenders, the ones you guys were just mentioning. We've got Trent, we've got Trippier, we've got Trippier, the famous Frenchman Trippier. We've got Ben White, we've got Josko Gvardiol, and we have Andrew Robertson. Notice the ADP. Trent going just after the first round. Trippier just at the end of the second, which was higher before the news of his potential departure. Ben White, 35th overall pick, and then Gvardiol and Robertson, 42nd overall pick. And if you look at that compared to the WAR rank, it's quite interesting because you see Robertson being quite valuable in WAR, and somebody like a Ben White who's being taken 35th overall on average, not as valuable in WAR. So take this any way you want, guys. Just what are your thoughts on this premium group?
I've been thinking a lot about how Ben White is overrated coming into the draft. Love him as a player, and he had a breakout year, and I think he surprised all of us last season. But as this kind of bears out, he benefited a lot from a few games and clean sheets. And if you're looking at just WAR, obviously he's a bit lower than some of these other premium guys. So this kind of confirms my suspicions with him. And then the rest of them all have kind of uncertainty around them. Trent has a new manager. There's rumors that he, might want out before his contract ends. Trippier's getting older. He finally relived the injury bug last season. Gvardiol had a good purple patch at the end of the season, but is he reliable throughout the season? Robertson had his own injury issues. So like to Toddy's point earlier, like this is the most shallow pool of elite defenders and probably the ones with the most question marks that I can remember in a long time.
Yeah. I think based on our previous, I was writing my draft for early fixtures article, and I had based it on my last season's article in the same vein, and I was looking at my last season's article, and I had Ben White in as your draft for early fixtures and then trade out, which was good advice other than the trade out bit. Because actually my trade out suggestion for him, which I don't think was very sort of out of the ordinary or very out there, is to try to get the less favored of the United right backs.
Okay.
And obviously, in hindsight, that is just plain stupid. And even my suggestion of trying to do that after round 4, then and there, would have been stupid, and obviously would have not been taken by anyone there. Because
so was that Wan-Bissaka or was that Delo at that point?
At that point, it was Delo.
Wow.
But yeah, I mean, even then, I wouldn't have made the trade. But obviously, at the time of writing, it was mid-July, and the fixtures look great for Arsenal. But Ben White was just a Saliba, just a player that that was wholly dependent on clean sheets, very little ghosts, and Arsenal were in the ascendancy from the previous season, but the fact that they could even up their game, especially defensively, was something I'm not sure many of us expected.
Yeah.
So yeah. Is Ben White fantasy real or fantasy fake?
I mean,
As in, is he now a premium defender? Like he's
well,
not
right.
being propped up by Fantrax scoring stats that we like. So he's not like Trent or Trips or Robertson who have such good attacking stats that whatever they do, whatever system they get into, they'll still flourish for our scoring system.
I see what you mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he'd be in the next tier for me.
Yeah, I was gonna say that, Ryan. To be honest, when I was making this, I was so surprised to see him with this group. Like that's the main thing for me, is that I don't think that he's a bad defender. I do think that last year probably was like the peak of what you can expect from him. Like that was the ceiling last year. I think if anything, he's like trying to replicate that this year. I don't know that it's going to be better. But I was astounded to see him with this group in ADP.
This might be one of the few times where we have like a group name recognition. I mean, all of the Arsenal defenders are trading on the fact that they're Arsenal defenders and that they get a lot of clean sheets. I think Saliba is inflated by that, as well as I think Gabriel Magalhaes as well, who I like, but has just been going way too early.
But Saliba's even worse.
Yeah, Saliba's a lot worse. But yeah, Ben White only had like 7 ghost points per start last season, which is fine, but it's not elite by any means. Plus, he benefited from the fact that the entire left side of Arsenal was completely mangled all season and no solidity and consistency, whereas everything went through Ben White and Bukayo Saka on the right. And hopefully there's a little bit more balance this season, but
that's a good point. And you've got Calafiori, you've got Timber. Both of them can offer a lot on that left-hand side. Yeah, we'll see.
I like Timber.
I like them both. I wish they weren't vying for the same spot.
They were Arsenal defenders
plus Zinchenko. I got the triple. Don't
forget Tomiyasu.
The BDSM cuff.
All right, Jeannie. Anything on the premium?
Yeah, I'm surprised Poro's not in this group, to be honest, because Trent is in a league of his own as long as Slot doesn't do some Southgate stupidity or something. But and then Trippier, for me, he's a DND just because I'm scared he leaves and I don't want to lose my second round pick like Harry Kane-esque last year.
Yeah.
I'm not really a big fan of Ben White. Kind of what you guys all talked about. The other two, and then Porro. I think that like he could kind of be in that conversation for number 2 defender if Trippier leaves. Like I don't see why he can't be within the Ben White, Guardiola, Robertson group. So I mean, if that's how ADP is going and Poro's the one slipping to round 5 and these ones are the ones you're reaching in round 3, then shoot, wait till round 5 and get a guy who could contend, if not be better than the rest.
I mean, I love that. I think that's great advice.
Let me check his ADP. His Poro, because his points per start were I think 9.3, and they were almost all.
He's on the next slide.
Oh, okay.
You want to move on?
Yeah,
we can. I think I'd. Ryan already mentioned Guardiola, but we just talked about before coming on the pod. We just talked about that. Is he this season's Grealish? And I was obviously referring to Ryan's constant reminder of me for the whole season that I was excited for Grealish based on his end of season heroics the season before, and I mean. I wasn't the only one because his ADP was below 20, or below 15, maybe even last season. And if you like look at Guardiola's points, then I think he had like 3 double-digit games before his incredible run in the and last 2 months of the season. So yeah, I have my rankings are for defenders are Trent, Tarkowski, Robertson, Trippier, Porro, Munoz, White, Van Dijk, Robinson, and then Guardiola.
I think as the role he was playing, it was a completely different role that he was playing when he came back from injury. So I guess the big question is, what does Pep want to do with that role? If he keeps that role, I think he'll be in the same kind of range. If he doesn't, then, well, you just wasted a 4th round pick on a classic City defender, Walker style.
I don't see why he would, since he did so well. Plus, they paid a lot of money for him. Plus, he's gotten over the debut season growing pains with Pep. So I assume he's going to crack on. Plus, I think we can talk about this later, but the defensive scoring changes will help City defenders more than anything else, because they're the ones that always give up a random goal. Now you won't get dinged for it. So yeah, I'd like him. I'm weary about it as well, but
yeah,
I'm like, if he was there in like round 6 or something like that, I'd look at him.
No brainer.
For my defender 1 or defender 2 even. But with an ADP of 42, he's never gonna be there in round 6.
Where does 42 put him at?
That's end of round 3 or middle of round 3.
No, that's it's a little too early for me. Like, I could see him by the end of the season being like top 45 player, but I just wouldn't risk it with that kind of pick when there's, like Diaz or Nunez might be available, something like that.
They won't be available end of round 3, but yeah, you're looking at.
Well, you can get Mitoma there. You could get. There's a lot of players.
You can get Doku, Mitoma.
Yeah.
Martinelli, possibly Cunha, and Kunku. So
Porro.
But even Porro, if you're staying with defenders, like I'm not touching Guardiola there, because like even his upside was mostly goals, without the goals, he was a decent defender. Like, I'm not saying his scoring was decent at the end of last season, but what gave him unholy upside was the amount of goals he got. And even if he keeps his role, I doubt that he will get those kinds of goals.
7.4, I think, ghost points per start. So yeah, he's around the Ben White kind of ghosts.
Yeah, I think I'd pass on both those players the more that we talk, to be honest. Unless, like Toddy said, they somehow fall to round 6, which I don't think they will in any of the leagues we're playing in.
Yeah, I'd take him round 5. I wouldn't hesitate. But yeah, 3, 4. It depends on what else is available, but I like a lot of other targets.
All right, let's talk about some of those. Our next group takes you from ADP of 45 all the way up to 71. We have very mixed war ranks here, all the way from 29 up to 128, which is wild. ADP is something else. So this is where it starts to, already we see more inexperienced drafters, people who are taking players based on name recognition, people who are taking players that aren't always going to be performing like you need them to for the place at which you're taking them in the draft. And so this is where we start to see a huge discrepancy for some players between their war rank, between our rankings at the Draft Society, which are updated tomorrow, by the way, and with ADP. And so this is kind of what we want to talk about here is war rank and our personal rankings versus ADP. These players actually don't have a ton of risk aside from a couple of them, so we should talk about that. But then also, personally, how do you feel about these guys and how do you rank them?
There's some surprises in this list, to be honest.
I should mention who they are. I'm sorry. Just for audio listeners. Let me go through this quick. So we have Tarkowski, Van Dijk, Pedro Porro, Reece James with an ADP of 57, Daniel Munoz, William Saliba, Gabriel Magalhaes, basically with the same ADP. We just talked about that with Ryan, 61 and 62, respectively. And then Christian Romero, ADP is 67. He's the one with the war rank of 128. Anthony Robinson and Diogo Dalot. All right, take it away, Jeannie.
Yeah, I mean, Tarkowski, Porro are the top group in this bunch. I already have a hot take coming out on Van Dijk versus potential center back partner, so I'm not too keen to take Van Dijk that early. Reece James, I mean, he's already missing the first 3 games of the year, right? And that's assuming he doesn't get injured in preseason again. So
that's what I was gonna say.
yeah,
At least he doesn't get injured in the first 3 games.
There's still preseason and probably a behind closed doors friendly. I like Muniz a lot this year. I mean, yeah, that guy could be something good, especially with this new scoring change and under Glasner. I don't get this Saliba, Mahalis, Romero, I like Robinson. Okay, maybe Dalot. Okay, I don't get those 3 center backs in there. To be honest, they're not that much better than the next group.
That's the Ryan's Arsenal defender thing, like what he said, that
the whole group is going.
The whole group
thing,
Romero,
recognition. Yeah.
Romero,
but yeah,
sitting in there.
Saliba at 61 is
it's a war crime.
Yeah,
61's what, 5-ish, 6 maybe.
Hold on.
Yeah, the early 6 I think is where he's been mostly going.
Yeah, early 6. Yep.
we are very bad at maths.
Yeah, and Draft Pie already called me out on
12
that.
times whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I said that an ADP of 42 was round 3. It's not. It's round 4. It's fine. I'm moving right along.
Still be getting.
I was never going to correct you, Joe, and I never will.
Thank you. I'm terrible at math.
No, it's a seniority thing. We
It's
just
endearing.
are not. We are not allowed to correct you,
It's
even if we know.
It's a senior thing. I think it's me turning 40. It's like a Joe Biden. It's my namesake anyway.
Been meaning for you to drop out of the hosting race.
He's already recorded most of what he's gonna say. Do we even need him now?
He's run most of the campaign, yeah.
It's the equivalent of a teleprompter. It's fair. It's fair. Which of these guys are you happy with as your defender 1?
Porro. Maybe Tarkowski.
Really? That's it?
Muniz, I guess.
I'm happy with Muniz as well.
I don't think Jedi would be the worst defender 1.
No,
Exactly.
I would take him.
Yeah.
Especially because that means hopefully your midfield and your forward line is pretty stacked. You're good to go there.
Yeah.
Exactly, and besides, so if we take out Reece James, Magalhaes, Romero, and Saliba from this list, I think all of these are a good, healthy combination of floor and upside.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd be happy with either of these. Like, I already am on record saying that my sort of quote unquote premium is a bit more forgiving than how you had the breakdown. And yeah, if I get Jedi or if I get Dalot as my defender 1, I'm happy.
Jeannie, are you up to date with any United transfer rumors? Because I'm worried a little bit about Dalot.
I'm not worried.
You're not?
Wan-Bissaka's gone, and
Yeah, but Mazraoui is coming
Mazraoui
in.
or whatever, yeah.
Yeah, he's coming to just back up Dalot. To be honest, we're
think so?
in a few. Yeah, Dalot's going to be first choice in my opinion. He can play both right and left back.
But he can't
really
defend.
made progress this year. I mean,
Mazraoui can't defend that well either, though.
That's fair.
That
That's fair.
That was the thing.
United can't defend, but I think Dalot's a better option going forward. And I think I wrote about this in the United forecast, how going forward, United were one of the, I don't even think they were top 10 in goals. So I don't see a reason you bench one of the better offensive players.
Yeah.
Whereas goals conceded, they were top 3.
Yeah, I mean, and
Shots
that's with
conceded, they
Shots
set records.
considered, yeah.
But that's all part of the master plan.
yeah, just basically training is just fire 100 shots a time at Onana. See
Let the
what
opposition
happens.
control midfield and then try and pick them apart.
Yeah, Delo's gonna be first choice for sure. I do think a new left back comes in though, but I think Shaw will be in the next 2-3 slides or something.
Yeah, I think I have Shaw the highest out of all of us.
Interesting.
I just hear too many rumors of a new left back, and Ten Hag isn't too happy with
Ten
Shaw's
Hag.
fitness.
I love that. Ten Hag.
You don't say.
Yeah,
I mean, the
He's an
encouraging
Iron Man
thing
compared to Malacia.
yeah, it's lesser of two evils, I guess.
Dark days. We don't talk about that.
Malacia.
I mean, the encouraging thing I think is if you guys are telling me that you're comfortable with most of these guys, aside from the ones that Toddy sort of took out of this group, as your defender one, you can wait quite a while.
Round 5, probably.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Tarkowski
6 for some of these guys.
will go in round 3. I think Van Dijk goes early 4, same as Porro. Muniz is creeping up every day.
I think, if on Munoz, and I mentioned them in my overvalued article that just dropped, I think a few hours ago. The Palace hype has gotten, I think,
a
bit out of
and I
hand,
totally
yeah,
understand it. I totally understand it. I mean, we all watched that like 6-game decimation of everybody in their path at the end of last season, but like
The same thing happened under Hodgson as well the previous season.
people, I mean, other opposition managers suss it out. I mean, they had no idea about Glasner and they were learning on the fly. They have all summer to figure out how they play and act accordingly. Plus, they're going to lose a lot of key players. Obviously, Olise is gone, so I still think they're going to be good, but they're not going to be like they're not going to go up to top 4 just because they had a great finish to the season. So like Munoz is part of that. But yeah, around 6 or so, I'm fine with it. But any much higher than that, I just don't see it. But he is Colombian, so don't tell my family that.
All right, Jeannie, as you anticipated, Luke Shaw is in this group, but only barely. This goes from an ADP of 78 to 101. The defenders that you're looking at here are going to be Ethan Pinnock, Joachim Anderson, Kyle Walker, Fabian Scher, Jared Branthwaite, Leif Davis, Malo Gusto, Connor Bradley, Willie Boley, and Luke Shaw. You have a war rank basically from 53 all the way up to 138 for Mr. Walker. Mr. Walker himself. So this is all over the board here. And points per start actually is kind of similar. Generally within about 4 points per start, but Luke Shaw, Joachim Anderson in the 8s, kind of barely. Branthwaite, but then all the way up to Malo Gusto, Connor Bradley, 10 and 12 respectively. So, yeah, this is a mixed bag. How do you guys digest this group?
Can I ask something real quick? The Connor Bradley hype, how? Yeah, how does he possibly get in over Trent and warrant like how high he's going? Like how? Yeah, I love him. He was great when he filled in, but like, how does he start enough to warrant that high of a draft pick? I don't get it.
I don't honestly. I don't get it either.
Me either.
I think the war goggles are really there.
It doesn't fucking matter if you can't get on the pitch.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think the only reason. So what I've seen, and what I've heard is that the only reason that he's exciting rather, is that Trent might move to midfield. But yeah, I mean, I don't think
if there was any evidence of that, I'd be all over it too. But
I think it's just the same as when Robertson was injured and Tsimikas had an amazing run of 5 or 6 games, and everyone was arguing to get Tsimikas ahead of Robertson for the upcoming season, and then we didn't see Tsimikas for 70 games.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I think it's great as a Liverpool fan. It's great to know that there is a very more than capable deputy behind Trent, and it also is great to know that if when the injuries stack up and we need to move stuff around and try Trent at right wing and defensive midfield or whatever, then there's someone who could slot in at right back. But other than that, I struggle to see how he gets enough starts even in the first 2 months to warrant drafting.
I tend to agree with you.
He's gonna be the highest ranked streamer. Like anytime that there is a wobble with Trent, either in his performances or in his fitness, everyone will be going to a mad dash to get him and spending godless amounts of fab to get him, and then Trent will miraculously be okay for the next game, and people will drop him.
Yeah.
Like I've seen, it's eerily similar to the Tsimikas situation. I think I've seen Tsimikas being held for a whole season with like 4 starts.
I don't remember him being drafted this high though.
That's fair, but this high, like we're talking round 9, 10. We usually say round
for a
10.
backup. That's pretty.
Yeah,
That's fair.
yeah.
That's fair.
I mean, yeah, no,
early 9th.
It's partly just the hype. Like, I mean, like people are enamored with him, and it's hard not to be when you watch him play. And the fantasy scores that he put up were wild. But yeah, I mean, at some point you have to be a realist. Like, there's only so many spots in the 11. I'm completely with you, Ryan. I've been kind of baffled by that all preseason. It just, I guess you could say he's a flyer, a lottery ticket, but I usually don't like to spend that kind of draft capital on my lottery tickets.
Yeah,
I think you can get some great targets in the 9th that, have a better chance of starting.
And Draft Pie asked a really good question about the points per start that's displayed on the screen. This is actually projected. So
all of the data here is projected.
all the data is projected.
Okay.
So DraftLad does projections for every player for every season, and this is the projected points per start for this coming season. So yeah, and as well as
the 53 is misleading.
Yeah, exactly. The game started. That's projected as well, which then that kind of leads to the war rank. Now, remember, the war rank is when this player starts, how much better are they than a replacement player, which is obviously it's easy to see why Bradley would be ranked so high in war. And that is one of the downfalls of kind of a war rank, is that you're going to get players like this who show up in war ranks just because when they start, they kill it, but they don't start that many games. I mean, he's got a projected game started of 14. What else on these guys?
I like Shaw. As I said before, I would have loved for him not to go to the Euros. But the fact that Southgate trusted him to start the final, I think, means that he might be over his injury, his latest injury, obviously not his injury proneness, but his latest injury. So if he stays healthy at the beginning of the season, then I think he's a good candidate for drafting for early fixtures, regardless of United's fixtures, which don't come to mind. But I'm sure Genie will be able to tell me.
Start with a loss to Fulham. That's all I know.
Yeah, but I mean, prime sort of quote unquote prime Shaw doesn't need United to do well to produce. So I think he's a prime candidate to draft if healthy, and then trade out after a few good games.
Yeah, with Toddy's logic, I agree. Draft and trade out. This 23 games started. shoot, I don't know. That seems like a stretch for me. I would put him closer to 20. I do like him. We all know I'm probably his biggest advocate, but it seems like I can't remember whether it was him or someone admitted that it was like maybe one of the medical team or something, that the leg break that he had has like literally ruined his career, and that like he could never stay healthy for that long. So we already know he's not starting 30 games. He's probably not starting 25. It's about, can he start 20? I don't think so, to be honest. Like, the dude's what? He's 30 now, I think. And this leg break happened like 6 years ago or something, and he's still not over it. So it sucks because he could have been one of the best. Unfortunately, didn't work out. But in terms of drafting him, he's going what, 9th, 10th? Yeah, that's not too bad. I mean, as a defender, 3. Yeah, of course, he's probably got more upside than like Willie Bolly and Branthwaite. So he's not the worst pick. But if a new left back comes in, like Kirkez was rumored earlier in the summer, I don't know if those have gone out the window. But if he comes in, then Shaw is just going to be back up, and Malacia will continue rehab for the next 6 years.
Yeah. Two others I wanted to mention from this list are Cher, who I know Ryan likes a lot historically, and I
Historically,
I like him. I like him this
I abandoned
season
him.
a lot. I like him this season a lot. There's no Europe for Newcastle.
Good
They
value.
are consolidating their investments all over the pitch, and with Tonali coming back and maybe solidifying the midfield or the defensive midfield, so to say, a bit. I like Newcastle to have an up year again, and I think it's great. He's great value at the spot that he's getting drafted, and he's good for a good few goals a season from set pieces.
yeah.
Yeah, he can have some monsters.
So yeah, I like him. The other one I wanted to mention, and I'll defer to you on this, just to get the ball rolling. Joe, one Leaf Davies. I know you did a very good job on the Ipswich flashback, and spoiler alert, although we will have ranks day tomorrow, we'll still have the Ipswich forecast coming up, which we have a guest writer for, and it's really exciting.
And he killed it.
And it's an amazing article, and we are so glad to have our mystery guest on that article. But I'm sure that even without writing the forecast, Joe, you have some words to say on Big Leaf.
I mean, yeah. So it'd be really easy to get excited looking at his numbers from last year, and I am mildly excited. But remember, currently this team is second favorite to get relegated, right back down. And so I understand people seeing Doughty last year and getting really excited. And what I will tell you is this: Leif Davis probably will, at the end of the season, have the most crosses in the Premier League. Now, I didn't say accurate crosses, but I did say crosses. So I do think that he is going to be absolutely involved in the attack. The question is that you have to ask yourself when you're drafting is, what will those attacks come to fruition at all?
Is this an attack you want to be involved in?
Right. Like, have they strengthened enough? And for me, the answer is unfortunately no so far this summer. But have they strengthened enough?
At all?
Well, I mean, they kept Hutchinson, which is big. They have Delap up top, who was highly touted by City. And I know they're still kind of striker hunting. I don't know whether that's going to actually fall into place or not. So for me, I mean, I think this is probably still a little bit early for him. But I do like him as a fantasy asset. I think he will get ghosts, a good number of ghosts. And we're all just kind of hoping and praying that the goals against don't negate those.
Their opening fixtures are, I mean, you couldn't draw up, I think, a worse.
Right.
First few fixtures, I think it's like Liverpool and City in the last.
Same as Luton last season.
Yeah,
like
true.
We were.
So I think you can get them later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
you could probably trade for him after a few weeks.
I mean, some
he may
people
be
might
dropped as well. Yeah.
I mean, there's going to be
yeah.
home leagues. There's going to be home leagues where people don't know who he is, and you're going to get him in like the 12th round, and I love that.
And they're going to drop him.
They might.
I mean, if you are listening to us and you have a home league like that,
Send me an
please.
invite.
No.
Yes, Joe still needs a home league.
Use the refer a friend option on our site.
Why would they want to lose that stranglehold on their league?
Yeah.
That draft sounds like a dream.
It gets so boring. It gets so boring. Like it's I'm not gonna say it to you guys because you know the ins and outs of the US sports business, but all the big league drafts are structured the way they are to have teams that are closer in value and in playing potential to each other, because it statistically makes sense that viewers and people around the sport are more interested in matches that are close. It's just science. So essentially, having a league that has players, managers who know more about the game will make your league better, will make your league more enjoyable. Yeah, your dominance might be challenged, but on the other end, you might be able to, in years to come, when you get everyone on the Draft Society bandwagon and everyone was going to be an Ultimate Pass subscriber, then you will get more satisfaction out of beating them.
Oh, Lord. All right. We have our midfielder stream that is starting here in about 10 minutes. So let's try to get through just a quick glossing over of one more group of defenders. So we have this next group from ADP 102 to 126. We've got starting with Purvis, moving on to Ian Matson, Konate, Urian Timber, Tyrick Mitchell, Ben Chilwell, Marco Senesi, Sergio Reguilon, okay, Dan Byrne, and Ruben Diaz. A lot of hopeful picks here. Some that are just very, very underwhelming, and some maybe actual talent in here. So how do you guys parse these?
I really like Estupinian this season just because of his the fact that his value has been deflated by last season, but he still has that injury, so that's the only thing that's holding me back. If he was healthy and like playing these preseason games, I'd say he's the steal of this group, but that causes a bit of concern. Are
you not
if
scared by
Reguilon
Marco?
gets picked up? No, I think Estupinian's so clear of him. At least at this point, he's more of an up-and-coming young prospect. I think if they're both fit, it's Estupinian all day.
Okay.
And if Reguilon actually got picked up or signed back with Brentford, he'd also be the steal of this group.
For sure.
Exactly. Yeah,
And that's why
he's
people
still
are taking him. Yeah.
honestly, I like BDB here as well. Big Dan Byrne. I actually saw the official Newcastle Twitter account tweet BDB. And I was like, who the fuck is BDB?
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of question marks around a lot of these guys. I don't mind Senesi, honestly, if you want like a defender 3 and just someone you can just kind of set and forget.
I heard Chilwell has no role in this team, so there's that.
Yeah, I don't understand this ADP.
I prefer another Bournemouth centre back.
Well, of course you do.
I don't like Ruben Diaz. I don't know who drafts him and why. It has to be auto draft. There's no way people are actually willingly clicking plus and then yes, I want to draft Ruben Diaz. There's just no way.
7.9 points per start.
That's way better than I thought it was.
Yeah,
I
mean that's projected, but
oh,
yeah.
okay.
Last season, I could tell you quick here. Let me see. Last season it was 7.9 last season as well.
Probably too many clean sheets. Well, I still don't think he's even worth drafting in the 16th round. Same as, I don't know if Reguilon, I guess, gets the move. Chilwell shouldn't be drafted either. I think Konate's second fiddle, but I feel that's a whole debate for a whole nother time.
Well, they can read your piece. What's it called?
Hot takes. I don't know when that's coming out though. Maybe a few days.
This week.
For sure.
Ryan, is this the right time to plug your Villa forecast regarding Maatsen?
Yeah, sure. I like
your excitement.
I mean, it was one of the parts of the fever dream. I think I wrote it like 2 weeks ago or something, so it's not fresh. But yeah, I like Maatsen to come in and take the job from Digne, and it's been shown that left back role in the Emery system is fair. It can be fairly lucrative. I don't like him any time before the late 9, early 10. I think that's probably a bit too early, but after that, I think he can probably provide solid defender too. Value. Villa's another defense that concedes goals, and I think the scoring changes will help them as well. And he can be fairly attacking, so I think he's got a decent amount of upside in this tier.
Is there another tier, Joe?
We have one more group that spans from Mark Cucurella all the way through Barco, Aït-Nouri, Mikolenko,
Kiwi,
Pereira, Gahey, Van de Ven, fantasy superstar.
Sprinter.
Your boy Kirkez Milos. We've got Destiny Udogie in there, James Justin, Lissandro Martinez, Manuel Akanji. I mean, there's some real shit in this group. But there might be a couple. Do you want to mention anybody here?
There's 3 that come to mind to me.
Okay, do it.
Harry Maguire, because Euro apparently is injured for a month, so Maguire's going to start.
What happens if the Ligt comes in?
I don't know. I don't think he does.
Okay.
Knowing United, I like Cucurella. I think he's going to start at left back, and I think he can be pretty good. And then I like Ricardo. I think everyone's overdrafting James Justin. I think their ADPs are switched now. I don't know if this has been updated, but I think Ricardo will be the top scoring Leicester defender.
Are people drafting Leicester defenders? I haven't seen
apparently.
Oh my god.
Well, I like Ricardo late on, a defender 3 type punt. Why not?
So I also wrote the Leicester flashback and preview, or forecast. And the thing about Ricardo is that he was the inverted right back under Maresca. And so he did a lot of spraying balls all over the pitch. He did a lot of, creative work in that role. So I think people are maybe hoping that he's going to sort of replicate that. But that's not really a role that exists under our boy, Cooper.
Our boy.
But I will say this, and this is just going to confuse people, but you might remember 2 fullbacks under Steve Cooper, one named my namesake Williams and one named Aurier, who were absolutely worth rostering in fantasy.
I mean, Aurier is just a different beast.
Well, yeah, beast is right. Rest in peace.
He's got that dog in him.
I miss him. All right. Anything else, guys, before we move on?
I like Dean Huijsen, who's who just came in.
Okay, yeah, good. Tell us more about this.
Is the one I have on my screen.
Yeah,
Dean Huijsen. He's a centre back who's come in from Juventus to Bournemouth, young centre back, and he's a ball-playing defender and really agile. Really likes to step up into the midfield and think Matip in his runs. So yeah, I mean,
These guys usually don't score well, like the John Stones. Saliba does that a ton. They don't get successful dribbles for it. I think it's nonsense.
I
Who
agree.
does he display? Senesi or the Ukrainian guy? Can't even remember his name. I blocked out.
Ilya Zabarny.
Yeah.
The Ukrainian guy.
I mean, we should have deferred all this discussion to GD because he wrote the Bournemouth forecast. But
Yeah, I think I need to update it with.
Didn't even know who that guy was.
This new guy. Well, he was just
Dean.
signed today, no?
Dean, yeah, 2 days ago. Yeah.
Yeah, so I gotta do some research and update it. One name I saw missing though, I was just looking at it, was Mr. Fofana.
Wesley's son.
Literally
Snipes.
the most forgotten man out there, probably. He's been starting for Chelsea in most of the preseason.
I want Tosin in there.
He's in there.
I don't think Tosin's.
Well, I want Tosin in the starting lineup. I want him in my life.
I'm not a Tosin guy this year.
It's going to be.
I'm not either, but I want to be.
But yeah, Genie.
He would have been much better in Newcastle.
Genie, if I'm not wrong, Genie Fofana appears in your other article.
Yeah, Sleepers.
Sleepers
with
11.
An ADP of nothing. So, which means he's been undrafted in every single mock or in every single draft. So,
safe to say he's free.
Yeah, Chelsea have
That's big. That's big these days.
We'll see. We'll see what his role is.
Free?
He seems to be injury free now.
Injury free as well.
Oh,
Double free.
so much free. So much free.
Freedom.
That was.
All right, we're going to wrap this up. And if you are with us on the live stream, head on over to YouTube and go to the midfield one because we're going to be there in about 5 minutes. For everyone else, thank you so much for listening. Hit next on your podcast player and listen to the midfield one, or vice versa if you're listening to that first. We'll be back with the forwards later this week or early next week, one of the two. But regardless, we'll get to it here ASAP and hopefully set you all up for winning those drafts and winning those leagues. Let us know if you have any questions. Obviously, hit us up. You can send us messages on Twitter, but better yet, join the Discord. The Discord is where everything's happening. It's popping off. Community are the best. We'll talk to everyone soon. Thanks for listening to this particular episode. Join us on the Mids stream. Cheers.